Hello everyone, I am the Constitutionalist Libertarian, and today in this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Washington Shitpost, written by Emma Brown. It was published on April 27th. Just right off the bat, they're already playing the race card here with just the title alone. Judge, mostly white southern city may secede from school district despite racial motive. I mean, come on now, how is that not saying we've got a bunch of white racists trying to screw over some underprivileged blacks? I don't know how that couldn't be interpreted that way. I mean, come on now. And the sad part is in trying to set something up to actually back them up on this one, okay, which it looks like they used a double exposure to blur this, white family that they have here to show how white bread it is, with a backdrop of, the white cute little cheerleading squad, okay, so that you can go, oh my god, look how white this community is. They gotta be a bunch of racists. But then, if you actually were to look at the left, okay, at the football team, looks pretty integrated to me. I mean, I see black, I see white, I see biracial, I see what looks like could be Hispanic as well. So, I mean, this is not some white bread, Wonder Bread, like, town. This is, even though there might be a minority of minorities, is still an integrated community. But see, they don't want you to really notice that, because they're trying to play this, oh my god, look at these racists. You gotta love the leftists here. I mean, the Washington Post, they've more than willingly earned the moniker of fake news. I mean, they basically debunked themselves with the picture that they're trying to use to back them. Oh, God. Emma Brown, you should have looked at the pictures that they were going to use so that you could try to at least make yourself look a little bit better, because I'm about to destroy you. Okay, getting into the article. A federal judge's ruling this week that allows a predominantly white Alabama city to separate from its more diverse school district is stoking new debate about the fate of desegregation initiatives after decades of efforts to promote racial balance in public education. There already is racial balance on the fact that there aren't a separation of, one race from another. They all can go to one particular school if they live in the district, or if their parents are paying tuition or anything like that. So, it's a strong start, but they ignore simple facts like that. Or I should say, Emma ignores those simple facts. Okay. Judge Madeline Haikala of the U.S. District Court in Birmingham ruled that the city of Gardendale's efforts to break away was motivated by race and sent messages of racial inferiority and exclusion that assail the dignity of black school children. If she actually said that, why aren't you quoting it, Emma? Could it be because she didn't exactly say that? Because, well, she ruled in the city's favor. So Gardendale obviously wasn't breaking the law and had the law on their side, and she had to rule on law. But she wanted to put her feelings into things. And if you had taken what she had said and put it verbatim, it would show that it was feelings and not fact or legal precedence. She also found that Gardendale failed to meet its legal burden to prove that its separation would not hinder desegregation in Jefferson County, which has been struggling to integrate its schools since black parents first sued for an equal education for their children in the 1960s. Okay. They don't have to prove this because desegregation has already happened because of the 1960s. I love how Emma is... And the judge seemed to be ignoring history. Something that, unlike them, I have studied, have a degree in. Okay, because you had the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Act, Brown versus the Board of Education. You had all of these things going on. And the Supreme Court eventually ruled okay, on this type thing, which I'm going to get into here. But first, you got to look at the fact of, in the South, thanks to the Democrats, which there was never a party flip, I hate to break it to you people that believe that, go do some research. There was never a flip, okay? What they did to try to get around what happened with Reconstruction post-Civil War is create this environment of what was called separate but equal. And in separate but equal, what you had is segregation. You had black restaurants and lunch counters and white restaurants and lunch counters, okay? And the blacks couldn't go to the white ones, but, you know, some blacks were actually open to the whites coming to theirs. They had no problem with that. You then had, you know, white water fountains and black water fountains, and it was not a good thing for a black person to be caught drinking from a white water fountain. And this extended into schools, and you had white elementary schools and black elementary schools, and white middle schools and black middle schools, and white high schools and black high schools. And with the Civil Rights Movement and the Civil Rights Act, along with the Supreme Court ruling on this, it was ruled that it was made illegal, and there was precedents now and legal penalty under law for things like segregation and discrimination. So what ended up happening is they integrated the schools, and the black elementary school and white elementary school became just two elementary schools that black and whites went to, and the same with the middle schools and the same with the high schools. That's exactly what happened back then, and that's exactly what we have today. So there is no segregation. There is no issue with it, but yet they want to try to make it sound like there is an issue. If you have a community, regardless of who makes it up, all the kids get to go to the same school. It doesn't matter if they're white, black, brown, purple, green, fuchsia, polka dot, plaid, paisley. Okay, they can all go to the same exact school. So, you would think this would be a moot point, but no, these leftists here, like Emma and the judge, had to go on. Still, Haikala ruled Monday that Gardendale may move forward with the secession, basing her decision in part on sympathy for some parents who want local control over schools and in part on concern for black students caught in the middle. The judge wrote that she feared they would bear the blame if she blocked the city's bid. So, wait a minute. Whoa. You gotta love this one. No, she based her decision on the fact of legal precedence, law, and not her feelings. But yet, they're trying, because the parents who want local control over their schools, okay, if they have more than 5,000 students, I believe it says here in the article, okay, they have the right to break off and form their own school district. Okay, well, they've met that requirement. That then gives them control over their child's education, which is what they want. Okay, so this is about the children. What's best for them? And instead of the judge looking at it that way, okay, what does she do? She literally takes the black students caught in the middle and she holds them up and goes, oh, look at them. And she actually makes them targets by what she's saying. Okay, for those very fringe minority 1 or 2 people, the very few that are going to go, you know what? That judge was right. And they're going to look at these kids and put resentment towards them when there's no need for it. These kids now should be looking at her and going, excuse me, we're not victims, but you're making us sound like them. But see, you got to play the whole victim status, like, you know, situation in order to evoke sympathy and to try to overrule logic, because they think that emotion overrules logic and fact. Okay, so let's go on here. UW Clement, who represents black plaintiffs in the case, said that the ruling undermines more than a half a century of integration efforts. If this decision stands, it will have a tremendous adverse impact, Clement said. Huh. Well, he's trying to make it sound like this is all about the whole fact of, oh, we've got desegregation going on. But if you read on, well, I'm going to read on, but as we go on here, you're going to see there's a lot more to this. And this guy is more of a sleazeball ambulance chaser than he is some virtuous, civil rights type of guy. Because it all comes down to the money. Just follow the money and you'll see. Other white majority communities in Jefferson County are already considering setting up their own school system, said Clement, who is a retired federal judge. Okay, well, he's a practicing attorney now. They're trying to make it sound like he's actually got some legal, clout of, through knowledge to back what he's saying. By saying, oh, a retired federal judge, look at him. He should know what he's talking about. You gotta love Emma here. She's shady. She is shady as all hell. Okay, she is a shady, sleazy little leftist. I'm sure she's a feminazi too. I mean, I believe she probably is one. I don't want to be accused of slandering her, but she seems like she would be a feminazi. Hikaula's ruling, it says to them that if Gardendale can do it with the history of racism, then any other city would have the right to do what Gardendale has done, Clement said. Whoa, 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 whoa. Until you leftists stirred it up, especially, Democrats and leftists, stirred this whole racism thing up, over the last 8 years of Obama and during Clinton's presidency when it kind of died down with Baby Bush. And I don't like all three of them, because I don't want people to think that I'm playing favors here by saying it died down during Baby Bush. But, it actually did. But you had, President Bill Clinton stirring the stuff up with the whole super predator thing. You had Obama stirring it up with Black Lives Matter and basically taking legitimate police activity and twisting it into racism and using that to get these people, by supporting what they're doing, to take to the streets and cause a lot of problems. And instead of condemning what they're doing, where was he? He kept his damn mouth shut because it was what he wanted. Because they want this racial division. Okay, racism was almost dead. Okay, they say, oh, look at all this racism. All right, but if you look, during the 90s, there were a lot of white kids who were acting and wanting to be black. Okay, where the hell did the term wigger come from? Oh, white kids who wanted to be black. Oh my God. Hey, Jamie Kennedy made a whole damn movie based off of that subject. It was a phenomenon. So, oh yeah, there's all this racism, but all these white kids wanted to be black. Anyways, you gotta love it. Backers of secession have said that they are seeking local control over schools, not racial segregation. Exactly. They want to be able to make sure that the money that they're paying in is going to educate their kids. They want to have control over what the teachers in their schools are teaching and who they are, because when you have a countywide district, or say New York City, which is actually multiple communities, you have it where these teachers can keep their jobs regardless of the deplorable things that they've done. I mean, they could assault the student and they have to report to this place every day, but they get paid. They get to read their papers, newspapers. They get to play on their tablets and their phones and bring their computers and have Wi-Fi, and they go there every day and get paid. And they don't want this happening in their community. They want to be able to control what's going on. And I believe all the power to them should be said. And that was it. None of this crap here. We know that the community is anxious and ready to achieve its goal of a locally led public school system. We are too. Chris Sergov, as president of the Gardendale Board of Education, said in a statement, "While the court's order is progress and represents a significant development in that process, we must ask for your continued patience and prayers in the coming days as we work through this together for the betterment of our community." See, this is about the community. This is about the kids. This is about the parents making sure that their kids are getting the best possible education they could get. It just so happens that the community has more whites than other than the minorities that are there. Okay, that's not racism. That's socioeconomics. Okay, those families, they busted their asses to, all right, so that they could bring their kids up in that community. Okay, if blacks or Latinos or anyone else wants to have that same environment for their children, then save up, bust your ass, and go buy a damn house in that community so that you can go to those schools. Or save up and pay tuition, because pretty much every public school, if you live out of district, will allow you to pay tuition if you really, really want to go. Save up and pay for your kid to go there. That's how it works. Fend for your damn self. This is not entitlementville, okay? This is not communist United States. No, no, no. This is the United States of America, a constitutional republic where you fend for your damn self, okay? You're not entitled to shit. The Justice Department, which under the Obama administration had opposed the separation, declined to comment this week on the ruling. Well, of course they did, because Obama has too much shit to worry about right now. He's dodging a process server who is trying to subpoena him for, I believe it's for the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac fiasco, where he was literally siphoning the money from that, the proceeds that should go to people who invested in them, and was using it to prop up Obamacare. You also have the fact that he's a little sketchy about getting picked up for the fact that it's now pretty much come out that he did what Nixon did, but 100 times worse, and made Watergate look like a joke by tapping Trump and his staff leading up to the election, during the election, after the election, until he became president. He also involved foreign nations to try to get around the legality of it. What he did is definitely something that should stain the Democrats' reputation for, I hope, generations to come. I'm anti-party. I don't believe in Republicans or Democrats, but the Democrats, they basically need to just die and fade away with their corruption. Gardendale, a bedroom community outside Birmingham, has been pushing for years to leave the predominantly black school system in Jefferson County and form its own small district. See, a bedroom community, so they're a commuter town, a commuter city, okay? They've been trying for years to gain control of their education, and they're trying to make it sound like by putting the predominantly black school system in Jefferson County, they're trying to make it sound like this is all about race again. She's sleazy. Emma, you are a sleazeball. Okay, woman, you are like the scum here. What happened to who, what, when, where, and why? Not feelings, 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 and more feelings, and we'll brush over fact and make it sound like it was basically, you know, against what she should have ruled. Okay. Hakulla's finding of a racial motivation in Gardendale separation and her defense of the ongoing need for federal oversight of school desegregation cases made her decision all the more perplexing to civil rights advocates. Well, yeah, because they wanted her to rule on, as I was just talking about, feelings. Because, oh no, heaven forbid that you actually rule on the law itself, which, this is ridiculous that these civil rights advocates think that the law should not apply and that these parents in Gardendale should be paying more money in than it costs for their kids to be educated so that these other kids have more money going towards them so that they can hire more leftist teachers so that they can indoctrinate more students into leftist Marxist ideologies. Huh. You gotta love that one. Federal judges have over the years allowed a succession of majority white cities to pull their schools out of the Jefferson system, leaving the county schools with a smaller tax base and growing proportion of low-income and black students. Oh, here we go. So, the former federal judge there, the civil rights advocates, this is what they're worried about. It's the fact of the decrease in the money coming in. So, follow the money. It's all about the money. I mean, just look at this next sentence. But until now, no judge has closely examined whether efforts to draw new school district boundaries here were racially motivated, much less concluded that they were. See, she didn't even do that. So they're still trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, look, she said it's about race, it's racism, it's racism. And, oh, taking the money away and actually putting that money towards your own kids as opposed to someone else's kids because they don't want to take care of them, or they don't want to go and get a decent job. They don't want to go and bust their ass to get an education like you did because they're like, oh, woe is me. Look at my skin color. I'm oppressed. Okay, instead of busting their ass and not realizing that because of their skin color, they have all these things that people who are white don't have that are afforded to them. Okay, like scholarships and financial aid and all these other things. Okay, like job training. Okay, job finding assistance, things like that. Okay, beyond the assistance like welfare, which the same thing, they're afforded they're afforded that ability to get, something like that and have the state support them when most whites would go to get it and they're like, you're an able-bodied white person, screw you. Well, unless you're a woman. But if you're a white man and you're up Schitt's Creek, you're up Schitt's Creek. It's hard to square, said Monique Lynn Luce, a lawyer with the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, who also represents black parents in the case. The court's acknowledgement that race played a factor in the secession effort was a vindication, even beyond what they had hoped for, Lynn Luce said. But the notion that the city of Gardendale can take steps towards forming its own system anyways is of deep concern. Oh, God, where do I start? The court didn't acknowledge that race played a factor. The judge said that her feeling was that it did. So no vindication there here, Monique. I suggest you pull your head out of your ass on that one because you're patting yourself on the back and you got no reason to. And you were actually hoping for a hell of a lot more. So nice try. And she's trying to say, well, even though there was race, this is of deep concern. No, this has nothing to do with race, but you want to make it about race because you don't like the fact that you have the, let's put it this way, the welfare government, tit of, all this money coming in from these richer communities to pay for the shitty schools in the cities that are getting shittier because the teachers are making them that way because they're the ones that are failing. Got to take responsibility here, okay? The reason why those schools are so shitty in the inner city when they're getting all the money from outside communities, okay, like Gardendale, is because the teachers and the administrations have failed, okay? So they should get rewarded and keep getting that money? No. These parents are, and the teachers, it seems, in these communities, because I'm sure most of them live in that community, they want what's best for the kids. And I'm surprised to say that the teachers there are even wanting best for the kids because teachers usually stick together. Oh, it's a union thing. But surprisingly, yeah, I mean, they're sticking together on this one. And it's about the best interest of the children. Now, we'll get back to Clement here in the article. Clement said the parents whom he and Lynn Luce represent are likely to ask Haikala to reconsider her opinion. It's not her opinion. What she said about it being race was her opinion. What she did was rule on fact. Now they're trying to cloud this because they're saying that she's saying it's race and that's factual. It was about race. But her ruling was an opinion. No, her ruling was legal precedence, was fact. What she said on what she thought about her feelings, that's opinion. Gotta love how they're twisting this. Both Clemson and Lynn Luce and Emma and all these little leftists here, they're twisting this because they want you to think that, oh, it's a fact it was racism, but it was an opinion on that they should be able to do this. No. It's a fact that they should be able to do this, and it's opinion on race. Haikala's 190-page decision recounts the decades-long battle over school desegregation in Jefferson County. So her 190-page decision is basically a history paper. It has just which could have been like a paragraph long. Okay, the law says they can do this, they can do this. But she had to basically throw in history and make it about feelings, and I'm sure it's all revisionist crap, too. Where there's a link, I'm probably going to take a look at it if I do, and it's even more full of bullshit than this article. I'm probably going to do a video on it. The judge offered a blistering critique of those who organized Gardendale's efforts to split from the county system. Pointing to Facebook posts and public statements, Haikala concluded that they clearly saw secession as a way to control the demographics of city schools, erecting a barrier to black students who transferred from other parts of the county. Really? Well, I'd like to ask Haikala how things that weren't admitted into evidence, like the Facebook posts and public statements, can be weighed as evidence, because that's kind of not how a court of law works, which is why she had to rule in their favor. Now, here's the thing. Before we even go on here, first time I read this, I went, oh yeah, this is because they were talking about the fact of people who were coming in, were exploiting the fact that they're paying for these schools, that they're paying for everything, and that community, and then leaving. Exactly what I thought. Sure enough, let's look right here. Non-resident students are increasing at an alarming rate in our schools, one organizer wrote on Facebook. Those students do not contribute financially. They consume the resources of our schools, our teachers, and our resident students, then go home. Well, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. But they don't want to make that the issue, because when you put that fact there, it's reasonable for these parents to say, you know what? We want to have it where our kids get the benefit of the money we're paying, and we have a say in what they're being taught. Makes complete sense when you look at it that way, that they're doing that. It's not about race, clearly. Such sentiments send a clear message to black students, many of whom live miles away in a community called North Smithfield and attend Gardendale's middle and high schools under a decades-old desegregation plan, that these schools are not yours and you are not welcome here, Haikala wrote. Well, those schools aren't theirs. It doesn't say that they're not welcome. Because watch, we're going to read on here and you're going to see what Gardendale did for these students. And you're going to go, holy shit, this woman is delusional. How the hell did she become a judge? And you're going to go, oh my God, Emma Brown is a scumbag with how she represented this story. I hope by the end you agree with me on these two things. Because the thing is she's going off the fact of facts, and she's going, but feelings are more important. A flyer distributed to Gardendale residents before a vote on whether to secede delivered an unambiguous message to inferiority. An unambiguous message of inferiority to black students, Haikala wrote. Well, if she did, then where's the quote? See, this is ridiculous. See, now they're taking what she wrote, and Emma's putting her slant on things and making it sound like they are mutually exclusive. The flyer, bearing an image of a white child, asked, which path will Gardendale choose? It presented a choice, a list of racially integrated or predominantly black cities whose schools remain part of the Jefferson County school system, or a list of predominantly white cities, some of the best places to live in the country, the flyer said, whose schools have broken away over the years. Now, you notice they don't show you the flyer, because I'm sure if they showed you the flyer, it would totally destroy this whole racism, race thing that they're going here, because any sane, rational, non-leftist would look at it and go, oh my God, they make something out of nothing, really. Look at this. Because they're talking about a predominantly white community. Of course, the pool of children is going to be more white. What were they supposed to do? Try to find the one token Asian kid? If there is one, I'm sure there's hopefully more than a few Asians there, but what are they going to find, the Asian? Or they're going to find, I mean, they got to have this racial harmony, diversity thing. Well, they should have got every race, creed, and color except for white in the district that they have and put them on the flyer. Oh my God. Okay, the fact that these predominantly quote-unquote black cities, or racially integrated ones, I should say, a list of racially integrated or predominantly black cities whose schools remain part of the Jefferson County school system, I bet you the school system is crap, and they're like, well, look at how bad their schools are in these communities. It has nothing to do with if they're racially integrated, predominantly black, predominantly white. It just so happens that these other communities, which are bedroom communities, and as bedroom communities, whether they're a city or not, they're considered suburbia. And suburbia tends to have more white people living in it. Tends to have, when it comes to other minorities, you'll have Asians and Hispanics also living in suburbia, because when they come here legally, okay, they're trying to better themselves and better their families, and they understand that moving their families and raising their children in those communities is best for those children, because the education is going to be better in the school system, because the school system has a better environment with the fact of you have a more affluent base, you have parents who are actually going to be more proactive in the education, and so forth, because that's what happens in those type of communities. Highcolor decided that although she could opt to block the secession, given that it is likely impair the desegregation of county schools, she would allow it. Oh my God, Emma, you're a professional news reporter, and you can't even formulate a proper English sentence here. It should probably read, Highcolor decided that although she could opt to block secession, given that it is likely to impair the desegregation of county schools, she would allow it. Oh my God, you are a real piece of work here. Do you ever hear of proofreading? Oh, what about your editor or a proofreader? Did they actually read the article that you wrote here? Oh. Black children from North Smithfield who are bused to Gardendale are in a catch-22. The judge wrote, without a concerted effort by the city's leaders, are likely to feel unwelcome no matter who runs the city's schools. Gardendale proposed including North Smithfield students in its new school system only after leaders of secession effort concluded that doing so was essential to winning court approval. This is a tragic consequence of the way in which Gardendale board attempted to separate, Highcolor wrote. No. They're basically saying, look, we're going to pay for the education of these kids from North Smithfield. We're going to foot the bill out of our own damn pockets. These kids are getting a free ride, entitlement, like you want. We'll do that just so we can take control over our own children's educations, okay? And make sure that the money we're paying goes to them and their betterment and the expanding of their horizons and intellect. Oh my God. They bend over and take it from the leftists and pay for these kids to go. And that still isn't good enough. Under Highcolor's decision, Gardendale may begin operating the 2 elementary schools within its boundaries this fall. If the city shows good faith in carrying out desegregation efforts at those schools over the next 3 years, including by allowing and paying for transfer students and appointing a black member to the all-white city school board, it may be allowed to take over the middle school and high schools within its boundaries. So, they want them to pay for transfer students to come there. So they want them. This is ridiculous. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't good enough that they covered North Smithfield. They have to. Anyone who wants to go to the district, they have to pay for it in order to have control of the district. That's fucking lunacy. That is complete fucking lunacy. Holy shit, they should appeal this part of it. Oh my God. I mean, also with the fact of appointing an all-black a black member to the all-white city school board. Because if memory serves, at least in most communities, school boards are elected. So the judge is ruling, screw the democratic process. You're putting a black person on that school board. Oh my God. And if you do that, and you're good little subservient little shitbags that we control, you might be allowed to take over the middle and high school, but you'll basically be doing it the way that we want you to, because you know that they're going to add rules on top of it after the fact. Oh, God, you gotta love leftists. Even then, Gardendale would have to pay Jefferson County for the high school building that sits at the center of town, which cost the county more than $50 million to build. The high school plays a key role in the county's efforts to integrate using career and technical education programs to attract students from far more segregated areas. So, let's translate this, okay? Gardendale pays for the teachers. They pay for the upkeep. They pay for the police to run security on it. They pay for everything at that school. They even, I'm sure, paid in to that $50 million to build the school. And where it was built in their community, I got a feeling that they paid a little bit more than other communities. With that, they even have the audacity to say that they should pay for the school. Well, if that's the case, minus upkeep, minus security with the police, minus utilities, minus all those things that I'm sure they're paying for. Let's then look at the price. Because they shouldn't be paying $50 million for the building when they're taking care of all the expenses. And they try to make it sound like because they built a vocational technical school, that this was to attract the students from far more segregated areas. No. Not at all. It was because they built the vocational technical school there because it's a wealthier community and they could get more money to build it and put better stuff there at the expense of these people who are now trying to retake control of the purse strings and their children's educations. Oh, excuse me. Under Alabama law, cities of more than 5,000 residents can form independent school systems, and Gardendale had argued that the federal court should have no say over its separation. Well, yeah! Things have changed since the Supreme Court's landmark decision on school segregation, Gardendale argued in a brief, and federal courts must open their eyes to the condition of the present. Yeah, because there's not all black school, all white school. Okay? There's just a school. And black, white, purple, green, fuchsia, Asian, Hispanic, it don't matter. If aliens showed up, I'm sure we would let them go to the school too. Okay? Because that would be segregation if we didn't. You know, because, I mean, hell, we let illegal aliens go to our schools. It's just one step further for the ones that come off the planet. You know, that come from a different planet, I mean. Hikala forcefully rebutted that argument, writing that Gardendale's message to black students that they are unwanted has been unmistakable and intolerable. Whoa, no! They're taking North Smithfield kids and paying for their educations. That seems pretty freaking welcoming to me there, Hikala. Wow. And the same with you, Emma, who obviously is going to not take her direct quote on that one, because I'm sure it doesn't exactly say that. But the court may not turn a blind eye to that message the judge wrote. Really? What message? That they're willing to give entitlement to these black students from North Smithfield and other students there that are from poor backgrounds, because They're giving them a handout. They're giving them entitlement. What you people on the left and all the leftists want, that isn't good enough. That's racism. You're right. Entitlements are racism. Thank you for proving a point that people that are libertarian, that are on the right, that are constitutionalists, that are whatever, that aren't left, Democrats or leftists, you know, we've been trying to prove this point. Thank you for proving it for us. Wow. I'm sure that's not what they intended, but you just proved it. Thank you. Pennsylvania State University professor Erica Frankenberg, who studied social segregation, said that the decision by Alcala, who was appointed by President Barack Obama and is relatively new to the Jefferson County case, is a significant departure from previous court decisions that allowed majority white cities to break away from larger school systems without publicly explaining or grappling with the consequences. And Alcala has clearly signaled that she reserves the right to change course if Gardendale fails to meet its desegregation obligations. Well, yeah, of course. The reason why she had to rule on law, but then slipped in, but if I don't like what you're doing, I can change that. I can change what you're doing, okay, is because she's an Obama-appointed judge, okay? They don't rule on fact. They rule on feeling. They don't rule on law. They rule on what makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Oh, God. Frankenberg said the decision also is an important defense of the federal government's role in monitoring and overseeing school desegregation. You can't just say that the passage of time has gotten rid of the prior segregation, she said. Yes, you can there, Frankenberg. Frankenfuck. Oh my God. When you literally had the 1960s and all that went on there with the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement, desegregation, Brown versus the Board of Education. They literally had to integrate the schools. Okay, what you're wanting is integration on a level of the community. Well, if there aren't a lot of blacks in one community, well, that's not because the community's racist. That's because socioeconomic issues or whatever. If you're on welfare, and I'm not saying all blacks are, but you look, there are a large number of blacks that are on welfare, okay, same with whites, but all right, we'll just say black or white, okay, you're on welfare, black or white, and there's this community over there, and the housing is expensive, and your taxes are expensive, and you have all these perks because of your property values being higher and your taxes being higher because your taxes are funding more services or better services. Okay. Just because you can't afford to go there doesn't mean you have a right to go there. You have a right to go there on the note of if you bust your ass and save up the money and get the job that allows you to do it. Yeah, you have the right to go there, but you're just not entitled to go there. That's one thing that you think these people on the left don't understand. No one's entitled to anything. And I hope you like my first video here. This is the Constitutionalist Libertarian. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe. I'm hoping to put a lot more content out in the future. Thank you.